Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Show. I'm Gabriella Cruz alongside Chris McNeil, Nick Padone, producer Ryan. Shout out to you. Happy post-Thanksgiving weekend, everybody, as we get prepared for the Browns playing at Mile High Stadium. We're going to have to dive into OSU and what the heck that was, the fourth straight loss to Michigan. But on a lighter note, we will dive into our Cavs, who just bounced back after two losses to the Hawks randomly to beat the defending champs, the Celtics. Okay, it's always good to beat Boston. And yeah, guys, let's dive in. First of all, everybody have a good Thanksgiving?
I sure did. Nick, I know that you're a hater on Thanksgiving. I had myself a great one. Plenty of turkey, a little bit of ham, mashed potatoes. Sorry, Jameis Winston. I enjoyed those as well. So it was a good time with friends and family. At that time, still looking forward to that Ohio State-Michigan matchup with really optimism in our eyes. Unfortunately, we all know what happens from there.
You know, as I was scooping the mashed potatoes onto my plate for Thanksgiving, it worked. Jameis had to put the thought in the back of my head where I was like, compared to the mac and cheese and the turkey and some of the other things, I was like, I found myself wishing that it was a cheesy potato as I scooped it onto my plate. So his logic worked. Maybe mashed potatoes are a little bit more overrated than what we thought.
That's funny. We did so much pie testing with him that I didn't even get into pies this past weekend.
There was a lot of pie here at Burke Lakefront Airport last week, that's for sure. And shout out to Jack O'Rourke, who works on our social team, that took the trek over to the Lakewood Giant Eagle and had to stock up on all the pie that we could find before Jameis came into studio last week.
Awesome.
And then after that, you had a cold date down there in Columbus
Chris,
for the game.
How did that go?
That was probably top 3 coldest for the game, Ohio State, Michigan. Top 3 coldest I've ever been in my life. As we sit here Monday, I feel the cold coming on. Like by Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to be sick. It was freezing down there in Columbus. Huge thanks to Swenson's for sending us down there. We're going to have a fun trivia package to play for you guys later in the show. Chris, there's nothing that beats a Buckeye game day atmosphere. Those fans get so into it, especially for the game, Ohio State, Michigan. The fans were so amped, ready to go down there at the tailgates beforehand. And then the team let them down again for the 4th straight row. And that heartbreak felt to me so much more significant being down there because the fans were so excited. Everybody was so passionate and into it that it really felt like the bottom of the bag just completely let out there at around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in Columbus, Ohio.
20-point favorites, weren't we?
That's exactly right. So the fans were all excited, as they normally are. This was finally our time to get revenge against our hated rivals up north. And then we fall flat on our face. And I'm sure that there's going to be fallout of this. And I think there may be some fallout even before the playoff begins. We'll see what ends up happening with Ohio State. But certainly a lot of questions. And hopefully we'll have at least a few answers with our guests today as we talk some more Buckeyes.
You know, I created a list because I couldn't fall asleep of everything that went wrong. I titled this in my notes app, all the bad things about that game. They were 6-5.
Right.
You have a $20 million roster.
Right.
You were 20-point favorites. The game was in Columbus. Michigan only had 62 passing yards. Donovan Edwards got hurt. They were without their top tight end, Loveland, their top corner, and Johnson. It was clear that nobody in the stadium could guard Jeremiah Smith, and they just refused to throw him the football. Will Howard throws 2 red zone interceptions. The kicker missed 2 field goals. And that's how you lose to that team up north. And that's my notes app because I couldn't fall asleep.
I feel for that kicker.
I don't.
A couple of misses. I mean, we saw the same thing against Nebraska. He couldn't make a kickoff, and keep that between the hashes. So, I mean, you get to your biggest game, you have no backup plan. You've got to know, and I heard pregame that he was missing. So Ryan Day knew what was going on when he's trotting him out there. And I think that's one of the many questions you have for Ryan Day about his decision-making, both on the day and then in the lead-up to the biggest matchup you have of the season.
It's all between the ears with this team. It's the most talented team in college football. That's all we heard all offseason long was that they spent $20 million. They got Will Howard. They got Caleb Downs, who did have a very good game. And then there's no leader. And that's, we'll get into the coaching stuff later, especially when Tito joins us just here in a moment on the show. But I really do wish that they were able to win that one, because this is a very talented Buckeyes team, Chris, and they just looked unprepared and the game plan was not very sound. And that's how you lose 4 straight to Michigan.
Completely unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. If you're the Ohio State University, lose 4 straight to Michigan, and especially in the manner that they lost on Saturday. That cannot happen again. Will not happen again, I don't believe. And now they're going to have to take steps to correct it.
And even if they found a way to pry a victory from the jaws of defeat, because they were trying to lose that game.
It looked a lot like a Browns game.
It did.
It really did.
It had something for everybody. Between the missed kicks and the 2 red zone interceptions, it really did remind me of
Let's not forget about the failed flag plant.
But say they won that game 13-10. We're not feeling much better today. That's not the standard that we've come accustomed to with Ryan, with Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, the greats that made this Ohio State program what it is. What we saw on Saturday, regardless of outcome, that's not the standard.
What do you think the status for Ryan Day really is?
Oh, I think it's either he needs to win the Natty or he will be gone.
Wow.
I think that is it. I think the edict is out there. I think when you pay, like Nick was saying, $20 million for this roster, and you've got a lot of high dollar, people who are contributing to this program, donors that are out there that expect Ohio State to be Ohio State. And so I think Ryan Day is very much on the hot seat, despite what our next guest may say in Tito Thoff.
Yeah, well, and the other thing was on X, it was just interesting to see. I don't know if these were just cheap shots because everybody was emotional about losing 4 straight to Michigan, but the fact that after the game when Michigan tried to plant the flag, he was just kind of standing off by the sidelines. Is that a non-story, or what did you guys think about that?
I mean, that encompasses what Saturday was. You had a guy that didn't have his team prepared. Then even at the end, when a fight breaks out on the field, you saw Sharon Moore on the Michigan sideline telling everybody to the locker room, and you have Ryan Day standing there like the 45th or the 46th president of the United States, just completely frozen. He didn't know what to say.
He didn't break character, though. I mean, that was his character all Saturday afternoon.
You might as well be consistent.
Might as well stay consistent, deer in headlights.
Let's take our first break of the game, of the day. I'm sick from the weekend, guys. I don't know about you, but
playing hurt.
Yeah, I've been playing hurt, and I was cold this weekend too up in Michigan. And believe it or not, I ended up watching that game with a bunch of Michigan fans, so it was even more brutal. I need a break more than anyone. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It is time for our Garage Beer featured interview, and we are bringing on Tito Thoff. He's from 97.1 The Fan in Columbus, and it'll be great to hear his perspective on this OSU-Michigan game. 4 in a row, Tito. What was it like for you, and what was the aftermath in having to put together commentary on this game?
Okay. The Sunday show was tough. It sucks Ohio State lost. I'm with you. Look, I am 53 years old. For 47 years, I've been following this rivalry very closely. I remember going to Ohio State Michigan parties, beat Michigan parties, all this stuff. Like, for 47 years, I've been doing things like this. It sucks. I don't like that Day is lost 4 in a row to Michigan. I get it. And fans are pissed. Okay. The game, though, means a lot to me. Doesn't mean as much as it did 20 years ago. It used to be, for years, the pinnacle for Big Ten teams was get to the Rose Bowl. For years, it was Ohio State, Michigan. Who wins goes to the Rose Bowl. That was the pinnacle back then. There was a time when only one Big Ten team went to a bowl game, where if you were second in the Big Ten, you did not go to a bowl game. All that stuff happened. And the game meant more then than it does now. Yes, I want Ohio State to win. But, and I put this poll on Twitter, and I'm surprised at the results, would you rather be 7-5, beat Michigan, or be 10-2, lose to Michigan, and go to the playoff? I'd rather be 10-2. And DeVere said the same thing. there are Buckeye fans and there are Buckeye goobers. Buckeye goobers want to be 7-5 with winning against Michigan. Buckeye fans want to be 10-2 and play for the championship. This Ohio State team is still one of the top 4 in the country. Don't like the way it went out on Saturday. Don't like the play calling. I still say this Ohio State team can win the national championship. And all these people say, fire day, fire day, fire day. 2 things. 1, let's see what happens in the playoff. 2, who are you confident in getting that is better than Ryan Day? Realistically, bring back Tressel, bring Urban. They're not coming. Go get Vrabel. Vrabel's not coaching college.
Right.
Go get Saban. Saban's not coming back.
Right.
Who do you think is better? Freeman? Okay, we can talk about that. Anybody else? Fickle. No.
How about
Don't
Matt
do that.
Campbell?
What's that?
How about Matt Campbell?
Campbell's a tough one. Campbell's shine was a lot brighter 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced he's better than what we have this year. If this is the floor, if you tell me 10-2 in the playoff with Ryan Day is the floor, I'll take it.
And I get that, but you're going a little John Cooper on us, just saying that Michigan
I'm not.
is now just another game here, Thoff.
No, I'm not saying it's another game. All I'm saying is that it is not as important as it was 20 years ago.
So I want to pose this, though, Jeff. What happens if Ohio State doesn't win the national championship? Because then I think people have a legitimate gripe to really go after Ryan Day with a little bit more oomph and momentum than they do right now, because obviously the fallout was never going to happen Sunday morning. I woke up Sunday morning and people were posting on social media, why is Ryan Day still fired? Well, they're going to let him coach throughout the college football playoff, but say he doesn't make the national championship, say he doesn't win a national championship. Does that change your perspective on this whole thing?
What will change our perspective if they lose by 30 in the first round? Let's say they have Tennessee here or there, whatever. If they get beat 47-0 or something like that,
To the Vols.
Then
That would be
then
brutal.
I would say, you know what? Let's have the conversation. But people are saying, like, I saw Scotty Vegas on the Fans said, fire Day now, make Hartline your interim coach. Hartline's not ready.
Yeah.
He's not ready. Eddie George. I love Eddie George. Love Eddie George. Like, inappropriately love him. He's not the answer either. Okay? So, and I'm not saying, so I hate losing to Michigan. I do. Chris, I lived through the Cooper years. I know what it feels like. It sucks. But if this Ohio State team, say they go to the national championship game and lose, I'm riding with Day.
Wow.
He's the kind of guy. Look, he's the coach you want to have in college. He loves the players. He gets it. He doesn't cheat. He's adjusted.
That's a low bar. He doesn't cheat. I love that.
No, well, it's a low bar, but I think it's appropriate to talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want Harbaugh. I don't want Kiffin. Don't give me that.
Right.
Don't give me someone to come in here and coach, and then in 3 years, we've got a show cause penalty. Don't do that. I like what Day does.
So you're a man of the people, obviously.
Look,
Right
I don't
now-
want to say that, but yes.
You absolutely are. So tell me, what is it like in Columbus, Ohio right now? What's it like around 97.1, which is the flagship station down there?
Yep.
What's it like for you guys covering the team, and what has the fan reaction been so far?
They want him gone.
Yeah.
They are done. And I think that's unrealistic. That's Buckeye Goober Nation. I think that, and I'm not saying like loser mentality, people say, oh, you know, who's better? Whatever. You tell me who will come in here right now and have a floor. People say, like, okay, what's Alabama's floor right now is 3 losses missing the playoff. That's Alabama's floor. Ohio State's floor, 2 losses in the playoff. Tell me somebody who comes in and makes the floor higher than what it is right now. And I can't think of anybody. Don't tell me Eddie George. Don't tell me Saban. Don't say Urban. Don't say Tressel. Not happening. Tell me somebody. Matt Campbell, okay. Freeman, Marcus Freeman, I get it. If you want to talk about those guys, I'm okay with that. But outside of that, like, fire Day.
Okay.
He's 47-1 against the rest of the Big Ten.
Yes, with a $20 million payroll there.
Absolutely. Yep.
So he's got all the resources in the world. Let's talk about one of those resources who's calling plays up there, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. How do you evaluate him on Saturday?
Well, I think I don't know yet. I haven't heard this answer yet. Who was calling the plays on Saturday?
Okay.
I hope it was Chip Kelly. But if it was Ryan Day or whoever was calling the plays on Saturday, yes, that's a problem. That is a reason to be upset, is because the play calling was atrocious. We know Michigan's strength is the DL, and you keep running against the defensive line. That was absolutely
maddening.
But I hope they change it going into the playoff. We'll see what happens on that. The Kyle McCord thing, by the way, everyone shut up about Kyle McCord. Don't tell me, look, Kyle McCord, I know they asked him, how do you feel? He said, everything comes full circle, whatever. Kyle McCord, you threw 5 picks, 2 pick sixes in a game. Shut the hell up. McCord is not better than Will Howard. I love Will Howard. I love this team. And I believe this team will play in the championship game when it's all said and done.
Sure feels like they need to. Jeff Tito Thoff is our guest. Tito, I wanted to get your perspective. What'd you make of the fight after the game? Because obviously that's something that the national talking heads had a field day with. It's something that surely made its rounds on social media. What'd you make of that whole spectacle and then the reaction that followed?
So I love that Ohio State defended their turf. I love that Jack Sawyer said what he said. I think it is, and we saw it in other games too. Florida State, it happened. There are too many times where stuff happens and people either tear down goalposts, rush the field, plant a flag, whatever, that don't need to happen. And the planting a flag thing, Baker Mayfield, who, by the way, should still be the Cleveland starting quarterback. There you go, Chris. The fact that Mayfield's the one who started this whole planting the flag thing, I think it's stupid for teams to plant the flag. I think that coaches should have more accountability for their players and say, look, we're not going to do this crazy stuff. We're not going to go plant a flag. And they should tell their fans, we're not rushing the field for being bowl eligible. Oklahoma did that as well. I think it's stupid. And the teams and the coaches and the ADs should have more accountability for that and say, look, if we win, we're not doing this. Tearing down goalposts is stupid. It's ridiculous. And they do it way too often. They rush courts, they rush fields too many times. And it should be, if it's a significant once-in-a-lifetime moment, yes. Oklahoma rushing the field for being bowl eligible? You're freaking Oklahoma. You've won national championships. You don't rush the field to be bowl eligible beating Alabama. That's dumb. I'm tired of people doing that. And the playing a flag thing, yes. You want to walk around the field, go around the perimeter, hold your Michigan flag, great. It's not a reason to go to the center of the field and plant that flag.
All right, Tito, noted Steelers fan. Are you guys going to get swept by my Browns this season?
No, Chris, look.
Because I think it's going to happen, Tito.
Listen.
Watch out.
Jameis Ball.
You did not text me after that first game, and I love that you did not text me. Thank you for that. But there is no way in hell they're going to beat the Steelers again.
Oh, we got to put something on the line here.
Right. We need a little...
Maybe some Tito's vodka on the line here.
What do you want? Look, I'll do whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Listen. The Browns. Chris, I asked this question before. Would you go as far as saying the Browns go away again? They go to Nashville. They're the Nashville whatever. And you get new ownership in here after 2 years with a clean salary cap, no Deshaun stuff. Would you take it? Would you take no Browns for 2 years with new ownership?
Boy, that's a tough one. 2 years? We're looking at a rebuild that's over 2 years right now. So
I'm with you. That's what I'm saying. So
that's
if
the
I
ultimate
told you right
burn
now,
down. So, yeah, why not? Let's go.
You would do it?
I would do it. Yes, I would. 2 years?
Shark
That's nothing.
Shark would not do it. I asked Mark the Shark. He said no. Of course, he's a lot older and he's almost dead. So I understand that. But I wonder if Browns fans, though, would accept that. If they would take 2 years, no football, but new ownership and no Deshaun Watson crap.
I think a lot of people would.
I think so.
I think a lot of people would take that deal.
We'll put it out there.
We will have to. We'll have to. Tito, fantastic as always. I appreciate it. You got to hold down the fort down there in Columbus for us.
I love you guys. You guys are great. Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Tito.
You bet.
We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. It was great to hear from Tito Thoff down there in Columbus. Chris, animated guy. Really fun to have him on. And you know who else was down in Columbus? Nick, you made that cold trek, as you mentioned. We got a little Swenson's package.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Swenson sending me down there. Did some trivia with the fans. Ryan, let's roll it.
We're out here with Swenson's in Columbus for the game. Let's see how well these Buckeyes fans know their Ohio State trivia. Oh, wait. I-O. Found a Michigan fan out here in Columbus. What was Denard Robinson's nickname?
Oh my God, his nickname?
His nickname.
Oh my God, I have no idea. Dude.
The shoelace.
The shoelace?
The shoelace.
Now, I do know that he was on the cover of NCAA football 2014. I know that much, so I don't know if that counts, but he was on there.
All right, let's do this. Who was the last Ohio State quarterback to beat Michigan in the game?
Justin Fields.
It was Justin Fields. Good job, man. We're hooking you up with a Swenson's gift card. I appreciate you playing with us.
Thanks, bro.
It is so cold out here. We've been out here for like 10 minutes. Our wireless microphones died, so now we're using my phone as a microphone. All right, we'll give you the hard one first. What was Woody Hayes' real name?
Woodrow?
It's Wayne Woodrow Hayes. That's all right. That's all right. Who was the last Ohio State quarterback to beat that team up north?
Stroud?
Stroud never did it.
Barrett?
Barrett, no. No.
Haskins.
No. Justin Fields. Justin Fields. Who is the only two-time Heisman winner in college football history?
Archie.
Archie Griffin is correct.
Archie Griffin.
Archie Griffin is correct.
Eddie George.
It's Archie Griffin. Archie Griffin. What is Woody Hayes' real name?
Woodrow Wilson Hayes.
Oh, Woodrow Wilson was a president of the United States. Who's the last quarterback to win the game for Ohio State?
Kid just played for Pittsburgh now.
Oh, he's got it.
I can't remember his name. Katie. Who's playing for Pittsburgh now? For the Ohio State quarterback?
Justin Fields.
Fields, yeah.
Justin Fields is correct. I love the phone a friend. All right, we're out here with Swenson's doing some Buckeye trivia. I hear Swenson's is special to you.
Yeah, that's where I met my wife. We worked in the one in Akron in the late 90s, early 2000s.
All right, so this is meant to be. I love the big hat as well. Who is the only two-time Heisman winner in college football history?
Archie Griffin.
I love it. Who's the last Ohio State quarterback to beat that team up north?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is correct. Thank you so much. Ready, go Buckeyes. We are freezing. Huge thanks to Swenson's. Make sure to go follow them on all social media and drive through there. Pick up a galley boy for your boy. We'll see you next time.
Awesome job, Nick. Are you still thawing out from that?
I
trip?
am. I still am like chilled to the bone from that. We went back right to the hotel and tried to defrost the best that we could before leaving again and going to the, watch the game. But yeah, it was cold down there in Columbus. Huge shout out to everybody that played Swenson's trivia. Go hit up Swenson's, obviously Ohio staple.
Heck yeah. We're going to do a little fill in the blank brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. If you haven't checked out Northeast Factory Direct, you got to get to one of their stores. You can also check them out at northeastfactorydirect.com. But they've got everything from kitchen cabinets, bedroom sets, dining room tables, hot tub sofas, and so much more for way less than what you would pay at any of those fancy retail stores. You can also see them in store, Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, or North Canton. And if you're looking for an even better deal, check out their outlet centers in Euclid or Canton. Make sure to ask about that big play bonus so they can hook you up with a little deal.
I wish I had a hot tub from Northeast.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the whole
You
time
need
we
one
were
now.
filming the Swenson's thing, that's all I could think of was I need a hot tub.
I could use a hot tub too. I feel like with the cold, everybody was cold this weekend. It hit us kind of hard, kind of out of left field there. Everybody could use a little bit of hot tub action. Let's dive into the heat that the Cavs have been on. You know, they finally fired it up and won against the Celtics. I know we lost those random 2 games against the Hawks. That was kind of weird. I went to the Wednesday game and I was pretty disappointed, but they bounced back, beat the Celtics. We are 1 quarter through the NBA season, guys. Welcome to Fill in the Blank. The Cavs team is
a blast. They had the best record in the NBA at 18-3. You know, like you said, you saw them kind of stub their toe a little bit against the Hawks twice. Maybe they were out clubbing a little bit too much. I don't know. But you bounce back against the Celtics. Huge win at home, at least as big as it can be for a December victory. But vibes are once again high. You saw Donovan Mitchell kind of play some hero ball yesterday, which is kind of uncharacteristic for this team because generally they share it a lot more. But it's nice to see that Donovan still got it in him. It's just a fun team. Give me the victory, Frog. Give me everything the Cavs are doing right now. Just love to watch them.
Yeah, I would say that this team is winning while they're learning, which is the best thing to do because despite the 18-3 record, we've seen times in the 2 weird losses against the Hawks, and we've seen times in wins where this team doesn't look exactly up to snuff. Either offensively, they have a weird night, or defensively, we've seen that creep in more than once. They're not up to par. But the best thing about this Cavs team is that they're learning under Kenny Atkinson while winning basketball games, while being the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. We know how much that means come postseason time. So a quarter through this Cavs season, I guess my only thing is just continue to trend upwards. You know, you can't have a hot start to the year and then taper off in the spring. Let's just keep this upward trend, keep playing Cavalier basketball because it has been a ton of fun.
We've got the best record in the NBA, 18-3. Is this the best Cavs team since LeBron? I know that's an open-ended question, but
I'd say so. I mean, since 2017, 2018, that team lost in the finals. You had LeBron and crew, and they were trying to run it back. You know, had missed out the year before, had won it the year before that. I think that was the last time when you saw a team that you really thought had the potential to win it all. And I think right now, the way the Cavs are constructed, I think this is a team that could win it all.
Yeah, I got to see it still. I got to see it against Boston at full strength. Sunday, they were without Jaylen Brown. They were without Derek White. Those are 2 of their best players.
They've always got excuses.
Yeah, but it's for the Cavs to be a championship contender, they got to go through the NBA champs, and that is the Boston Celtics. And it was very nice. Regardless, you could only play who's in front of you. Without Brown, without White, they beat Boston. That was huge. They took care of their home court. So I will say this is probably the best team since the 2018 Cavs. I know Dollar Dog Nick says, is it better than LeBron's last year here? I'm not willing to say that because that team did go to the NBA Finals, and unless this team goes that far, then they're not as good as those 2018 Cavs. But I'd definitely say they're the best team we've had in Cleveland since LeBron departed.
Donovan Mitchell, we saw him rise to the occasion, as we alluded. 20 points of his 35 he dropped in the 4th quarter to get us back in this, and I think the deficit was like 14. We were down by 14 at the half, was it? So for them to power back, leading the charge was Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell is a top blank player in the NBA right now.
I think he's approaching top 5, believe it or not. I mean, you got Jokic, you got Luka, you got Giannis, and then you've kind of got the old heads, right, on the other side, the Stephs, the LeBrons. I think he finds his way right in the middle of all of that, and he is top 10, and he may be top 5 right now. And when he's playing and he is on to close out a game, man, there's nobody better right now.
Yeah, the MVP in the NBA is so weird because it feels like it's starting to turn into a award where they just hand to Nikola Jokic every year, and I don't know that I exactly agree with that. I would also still probably put Jason Tatum right now, and you can't sleep on what SGA is doing for the Oklahoma City Thunder, very similar to what our Cavs are doing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is kind of like the Donovan Mitchell out there out west with the Thunder. I'm agreeing with Chris. Donovan is finding himself right there in the top 5 players in the NBA right now, and that's the perfect spot to be in because that means you got a good team around you, you're winning as a team, and usually those guys in the top 5 make a little bit of noise come postseason time. So that's what we're expecting out of Donovan here in Cleveland.
Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more Big Play Cleveland and Fill in the Blank right after this. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show as we continue our fill in the blank brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. Let's talk a little more Buckeyes, fellas. Blank should be the head coach of the Buckeyes next season.
And we're assuming once again Ryan Day is going to be asked to leave here at some point. I would assume with this question. I was saying Matt Campbell before, and I'm going to stick with that one. I like the idea of this guy, what he's built up there at Iowa State. And I also like the fact that I think he understands what this rivalry would be. He's from Massillon, so he's a local guy. He's kind of moved around quite a bit in his career. Younger guy, he understands NIL, and I think he would be a good plug and play on this team right now. I would also say a guy like Marcus Freeman over there at Notre Dame. Obviously, he understands the rivalry as well, being a Buckeye. Love to see a name like that here. But those are the top two. A lot of people have said Vrabel. Vrabel isn't going to want to recruit. I completely agree with that one. I don't think Urban's coming back, so I think we're down to the Matt Campbells of the world, as well as the Marcus Freemans. That would be in the set that I'd start interviewing.
I got a ton of heat for this online, and I'm going to just live by it at this point because I truly do believe that this is an Ohio State program that needs a change of culture. It needs a change of swagger about them. What about Coach Prime? Deion Sanders to Columbus, coaching the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's not me being facetious at all. Just 2 years ago, the Colorado Buffaloes were horrible. They were the worst football team in America by a pretty good margin in just 2 years' time. While he's had a media circus surrounding him, and there were some theatrics that went with, he has the Colorado Buffaloes ranked. He has the Colorado Buffaloes bowl eligible. 2 weeks ago, it looked like they could crack this new expanded 12-team playoff. As I was sitting there on Saturday and I was watching the Ohio State Buckeyes, I saw a team without a culture, without any swagger, without any juice. That played even into the post-game fight where they couldn't even muscle that Michigan flag away from some sorry equipment manager. I think Coach Prime brings a much-needed breath of fresh air into Columbus and a new sense of swag, identity, and fun that the Buckeyes have been missing for these last 4 years.
Plus, it's just a short drive for him up to Cleveland to be able to see his son play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, right?
How about that? Right out 71, Chris.
Is it time for Prime? Okay, the Browns playing the Steelers twice in 3 weeks is?
I think it's, at this point in the season when you're not playing with a whole lot, it's kind of fun, right? You have like a mini series right now. So you're able to play your rival condensed 2 out of 3. So it's something that the players can focus on, something that the fans can focus on. I was already giving Thoff a hard time about his Steelers. So, hey, at least it brings a level of interest later on in the season.
And it gives the Browns an opportunity to play spoiler. That's really all that this is at this point. It's a lost season for the Browns. It's been that way since they made the decision to start Deshaun Watson and stick with him as their starting quarterbacks. But you could at least play spoiler. You could try to knock those Pittsburgh Steelers out of first place in this AFC North, which, by the way, starting to look a little bit overrated. I mean, you've got the Baltimore Ravens going out now and losing another game where Justin Tucker looks washed to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Steelers are in first place. The Bengals are trying to beat out the Browns for that last place schedule next year. This looks like a completely overrated division, and it just speaks to the colossal failure that was Deshaun Watson and everything that went into the first 7 weeks of this season. Just a massive blown opportunity.
Speaking of which, Hard Knocks, AFC North starts up this week.
Buckle it in.
Did you guys see the Mike Tomlin clip that was circulating on X about being mic'd up? Shut your ass up. He's so funny. I don't care what you guys say. I know we're supposed to hate the Steelers, but how do you not like a guy who's been in the league 16 seasons, and I don't know how many of those. He's got to be like one of the most winningest coaches, right, in the seasons.
Every year, Steelers fans want to fire him, too.
Yeah, I know. That sounds like our dysfunction on X. The most disappointing team in the NFL this season is, and keep in mind, we're 3-8, but San Francisco, did you guys know this? San Francisco, 5-7. After the preseason, they had the second best Super Bowl odds. We also got Cincinnati is 4-8, Dallas 5-7, Jets are 3-9 this season.
San Fran just lost McCaffrey, too, so they're going to be in some trouble. But the most disappointing team this season is the Cleveland Browns. You don't pay this much for a team and then not be anywhere close to the playoffs. I'll tell you what, between Deshaun Watson and then, oh, by the way, the Jets are another big disappointing team. Aaron Rodgers, you talk about the NFL's all overpaid, overrated team. Top two quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and I'm going to stick with Chris and say the Cleveland Browns. I mean, this is the most expensive roster in football. This was a team that was supposed to compete with the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, who, by the way, looked pretty good on Sunday Night Football, didn't he, there in the snow? And here we are, wandering the quarterback desert, wondering what comes next for this team and this organization, back to the days of mock drafts and pulling for our Super Bowl, which comes in April, not in February. So the Browns are the most disappointing team in the NFL this year.
All right, that's a wrap for our fill in the blank. Thanks again to our friends at Northeast Factory Direct. Remember to check out Northeast Factory Direct at any of their locations in Cleveland, Euclid, Macedonia, or North Canton. And remember to ask about that big play bonus. We'll be back after this short break. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. We've got Would You Rather brought to you by Fairway Ford. Who's doing the read on this, Chris?
Fairway Ford is the largest Ford truck dealership in Ohio, Gab. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they won't be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. So don't let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands on your new truck. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com.
I'm sure this is a question some of us have already thought about. Would you rather the Browns finish above the Bengals or get the fourth place schedule for next season?
Give me the fourth place schedule. Yeah. Give me the draft capital. I want to draft higher. I lose out. It doesn't matter to me at this point. I just want to get some draft picks so that we can rebuild this team.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, even versus the fourth place schedule, which would be nice. It would allow Browns fans another trip out there to Vegas. I believe it's AFC West, same place finisher. AFC South, same place finisher. So you'd be in Jacksonville with that nightmare of a team as well. So it would certainly be a weak schedule, but the thing about the Browns finishing in last place is you do secure what hopes to be a top 10, top 5 NFL draft pick. That's what the Browns are in the business of. They haven't had that first round pick in 3 years. The last time they did what would have been, Jedrick Wills, Greg Newsome, both of those guys are going to be off the roster next season. So it's time to get some first round picks back and draft some talent that'll actually work and be around Cleveland for some time.
Would you rather Mike Vrabel coach the Browns or the Buckeyes?
Boy, that's the question on social right now. There's like a bidding war for that guy between Cleveland and Columbus. I don't think he's going to end up at either. I think Stefanski's going to be the coach next year in Cleveland. And I think down there in Columbus, I already told you they're going to look at the Matt Campbells of the world. They're going to go a different direction. Mike Vrabel doesn't want any part, I don't believe, of the Ohio State Buckeyes, despite what the fans might believe and despite what I may even want. I don't think Mike Vrabel wants a piece of the NIL and what the culture is these days.
Yeah, here in Cleveland, I seriously want to see Kevin Stefanski get his chance. I want to see him pick his quarterback and let it be known that that's his guy, and next year is a Kevin Stefanski year. So for Mike Vrabel, I want to see him down there in Columbus. I don't think it happens for all the reason Chris named. I don't think he wants to deal with that headache of the NIL, not to mention he's going to have his pick of the litter of NFL jobs. I mean, the Cowboys' job is going to be open. The Jaguars' job is going to be open. There's going to be openings all over the place. So why go back to college football when you could have another head coaching job here in the NFL? But when I was talking about the Buckeyes opening, and I think that they need somebody with a little bit of juice, a culture setter, Mike Vrabel really would be the number one pick. I just don't think he wants Ohio State as bad as Ohio State probably wants him.
Okay. Would you rather sit courtside at a Cavs game or front row 50-yard line at a Browns game?
Courtside.
Yeah, this one's easy.
Yeah, I think with the state of the Browns right now, this is kind of a given.
And also freeze your rear end off or be, in a heated environment where you could walk in. I've sat courtside. You could walk underneath to that bar area right under there. I mean, this is not even
Does
a
it change the question?
A debate.
Once we build the dome in Brook Park, do you want 50-yard lines where it is heated?
Yeah.
It is weather controlled.
Maybe. Maybe that might change my mind a little bit. But also, too, though, I feel like watching the NFL on TV is there's nothing like it, whereas the NBA, when you're there and you're close, you could hear the players calling out switches, you could hear them trash talking a little bit. Sitting at the 50, you don't really get any of that. It would be cool to take in a game in Brook Park, especially that first season right there at the 50, but there's nothing like sitting courtside at a Cavs game.
No, and the NBA has built a whole culture around being at the courtside, having celebrities there.
Travis Scott was there Sunday.
There you go. I mean, it's classy. It's kind of the place to be. Certainly during the winter months when there's not a whole lot to do outside, it's nice to be inside and know where everybody's going to be, and everybody's going to be looking at you when you're courtside. And then, like you said, you're so close to the action. You can touch the players right there. The ball may be falling into your lap. Heck, we had a couple of years ago, LeBron James going into the front row, and I think it was Jason Day's wife, who got trucked courtside. So you never know what's going to happen if you're there courtside. So give me the courtside. I've been to Browns games that are pretty close to the field, and like you said, the experience sitting at home is pretty comparable. And if you want to be out with the people, you just be in the stadium and you're going to be with the folks.
Yeah, easy question. I love it.
Okay, this one, I'm just interested to hear what you think. Obviously, we'd love to watch a Cavs win either way, but would you rather see the bench have a big game to get the Cavs win, or just Donovan Mitchell, kind of like what we saw last night, ball out for the win?
I like the occasional Donovan, playing hero ball like that. I don't want that to be our offense. And we had that problem back in the early days of LeBron James, where he would kind of stand in the corner and dribble and everybody be yelling at their TV going, do something, do something. Now, Donovan's never been that type of a player just to sit there and dribble. But we also don't have to run the offense entirely through Donovan Mitchell. Now, there are going to be nights like we saw there against the Celtics where he's going to have to step up and he's going to be a superhero. And that's what stars do. But night in, night out, through a long NBA season, I want to see that entire bench. I want to see those starters, everybody contributing. And that's been one of the keys to this team this season. And I expect it to continue under Kenny Atkinson's watch.
And that's the best part about having a superstar and a superstar in Cleveland is you have the comfortability of knowing that you have somebody like a Donovan Mitchell that can take over a game any given night. But to win games come postseason time, and we learned this dating back to LeBron's first time in Cleveland, to win meaningful playoff basketball, you need contribution out of everybody. You need everybody that hits the floor to make a contribution. So I would rather Cavs win with a big night out of the bench, just because it gets them closer to winning the way that you're going to have to win in the playoffs, especially against Boston. Look at how deep Boston is with Peyton Pritchard, Al Horford just causing fits on any given night. That's what the Cavs need out of their guys, Ty Jerome, Karis LeVert, to be able to enter the game, take over, score some big baskets. So that's my favorite way to win, because it means that sustainable basketball is to come playoff time.
Love it. All right. Thanks to our friends at Fairway Ford. That's a wrap for our Would You Rather segment. We're going to take one more break, and we'll be back with our wrap on the Big Play Cleveland Show. Welcome back to the Big Play Cleveland Show. As we wrap this up, anybody got any new Cavs gear lately? Because that's where I have been lighting it up. I don't know.
Look at this.
Listen, look at this, guys. First of all, I got to show you the back.
Retro.
Super retro.
Who's the first player that comes to mind when you see that kind of a logo?
Mark
Z.
Price.
Early year.
Z?
Early year Z.
Yeah. I was thinking more the Rain Man, Sean Kemp on that one.
Cavs.
I mean, the big Rain Man at that time, later on in his career after the Cavs signed him.
I love all the blue. It's nice that they're, really leaning into the partnerships with the community. Coming up this week, we've got Me versus Nuggets Thursday. I think they're wearing
Already.
the Cleveland Art Museum again.
Yeah.
We get our early season, early December, Me versus Nuggets. We talked about meaningful basketball and how fun Sunday was against the Celtics. How about meaningful basketball? Can Sir Yacht eat more chicken McNuggets than the Denver Nuggets score points? It will be fun to see how Jokic and the boys can bang down low against Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. It's something to watch for sure.
I was looking up some stats, and I don't know how meaningful this is at this point in the season, but true shooting percentage, Jarrett Allen is 2, Ty Jerome is 3 in the league.
Yeah, I saw Ty Jerome.
Ty Jerome is more impressive because usually your big's true shooting percentage, I mean, you're right there, lay it up. But Ty Jerome to be that high in the NBA right now is very impressive.
Yeah, I think from 3, he was like 2 or 3 as well. So really good to see, once again, another guy contributing, a guy who coming into the season, nobody was really talking about, Nick. And now we're seeing those contributions across the board for the Cavs.
It just brings joy to my heart, guys, that we're talking Cavs basketball here in December. The Browns season unfortunately over, but that's the great part about Cleveland. We're always on to the next thing. Next up, Gab, spring training. We're going back out there to Arizona. We got to. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Big Play Cleveland Show. Make sure to download that free Big Play app on iOS and Roku to keep up with us 3 and the rest of your favorite Big Play shows. We'll be back next week. See you then.